Welcome to the channel again. This is with a pinch, back at it again with another Tears of Kingdom video. Two for two, back to back. You ain't never heard about this. First in the game. Today, last video, I talked about how I felt Tears of the Kingdom was a bit disappointing and how it could have been better. I should have probably expanded upon the gripes that I had. The story should have been better. The gameplay was good, but the powers were kind of redundant. Ultimately, there was still no durability fixing, like you couldn't even repair the weapon. Something that was I something they could just implement just easily. Just if they have place in the game, just have it be some materials that you could just find to like repair. You could still explore, make it so that you can go down underground, get like a forge, repair the weapon, durability and all that. But I digress. Today I'm talking about why I believe Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom feel so different, even though fundamentally they're the same game. As I said in the previous video, Tears of the Kingdom, I had fun with it for a short while. I played it. I was, like everybody, I saw the trailers. I was hyped. I got the game, and then I couldn't finish it. Yes, I know. You can't talk about a game until you finish it, but I ask you this. If you go to a restaurant and the meal tastes kind of bad, are you gonna finish the meal before you tell them it's bad, or are you gonna finish the meal? I'm not just saying that Tears of the Kingdom is bad, but it's, well, it's the reason why this video exists today. Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are fundamentally the same game, but why is it that Breath of the Wild feels so much more good, less tedious than Tears of the Kingdom ever does? Is it because Breath of the Wild came before Tears of the Kingdom? Yes, that is also part of it. But I think there's another thing that definitely changes, which is more than just the fact that Breath of the Wild came first and therefore introduced these mechanics. Because if Breath of the Wild, I think what I'm about to say is, if Breath of the Wild didn't have these things implemented into its gameplay, it would have been just as tedious as Tears of the Kingdom. So yeah, Breath of the Wild was a phenomenal game. We know this. Everybody who knows this knows this. I mean, there's a reason why Tears of the Kingdom sold so much, right? The Zelda fans came in, new fans came in. But what was amazing, the story, the gameplay, the world traversing, I can say that for me personally, I had never played a game of that level. Maybe Elden Ring, but like it's the freedom that Breath of the Wild had compared to Elden Ring is incomparable. They're like two open world games, but ultimately Breath of the Wild is like more free in a sense. And just so because I played Breath of the Wild, I literally finished Breath of the Wild before the game Tears of the Kingdom released. Like I finished the game and then I finished it only once, which is I think the reason why I like Tears of the Kingdom as much as I did, because back on it, the Tears of the Kingdom, like the hype for Tears of the Kingdom was mostly built by Breath of the Wild for me. In like I'll come back to that later on as to why Breath of the Wild was such a phenomenal game to me. But the reason for this video is that the ancient weapons are the guardians. I was gonna transition into it a bit smoother, but quirks of first videos and all that. I think these are the reasons why Tears of the Kingdom feels so tedious, much more tedious than Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are the same. They're like very much similar in the same game. You know, they have the same um, combat system. The enemies different, the powers are different, but ultimately exploration and fighting is about the same thing. Yes, Breath of the Wild had you know, it was a novel game. The exploration was new, so that's why they had to. So that's why the player was already aware of. The player was already aware of the landscape in Tears of the Kingdom, which is another thing. But I'll talk about it later. For now, though, ancient weapons and guardians. How did they make Breath of the Wild the juggernaut that it is today? I think it's because they are like the two pillars that hold the entirety of the gameplay together. First of all, the Guardians, the machines that you know, if you play the game, you know them, you've heard the sound. I wish I could play the sound, but still haven't figured that out yet. Uh, you know the sound, you know, you hear them instantly, you start turning around. It's like I played the game 3 years after release. I have seen the videos of Breath of the Wild. I have friends who had the game, you know. And yet, when I still played the game for the first time and I came in front of a Guardian, I was still shocked. I was still scared when I heard that sound because I had like no shield and I just tried to fight the machine and then I got blasted. So every time I saw it, I just started running away as fast as I could, and I had no stamina. So I basically was getting pelted. You know, it made me run away, and so that's where the first villain comes. Is it's sort of a wall. Like we say, Breath of the Wild is free and open world game that has like no guardrails, but I think it has the Guardians kind of serves as guardrails. Specifically, like you can, if you start the game Breath of the Wild the first time playthrough, there's nothing stopping you from going straight to Ganon's castle. The moment you leave the Great Plateau, you can just go straight to the castle. But the reason why you can't do that is because of the Guardians. Their presence at every location between the plateau and where the kingdom is serve as a deterrent to tell you, wait, you're not strong enough to get to this area yet. Why don't you explore some more, get some more weapons, get some more health, stamina, and then come back to be strong enough to fight these machines, these behemoths. So as you play the game, you get more weapons, you get better at the game, you start finding it, and then eventually you defeat them. Once you defeat them, though, this is where the other aspect of the tedium is solved because you know you play the game after like genociding how many god knows how many um bokoblins moblins. You now have so many parts and money, right? But like the guardians, you kill your first guardians, you collect the parts. You're like, oh, what do I do with these parts? So you go back to uh Peru, Peru, Peru. I think it's Pura, Breath of the Wild, Pura, Pura. Yes, Pura. Sorry, I thought it was Pura. You go back to Pura. You know, there's the village in Hateno village. You know, so you explored it. You will have gone to Hateno village. You will have seen the ancient weapons. You showed on the slide previously, and you will have seen those weapons, but they're mighty expensive. So after killing and finally getting some money, killing the guardians and getting some money, you go to Pura, you get your first weapon, and then the gameplay becomes even less tedious. How does it become less tedious? Because now you have a weapon that can do insane amount of damage, and by typically That is the bow, the ancient bow. The ancient bow gives you so much power in the game that is not very funny. Um, like to gather my thoughts a bit. Power scaling in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. As you start the game, you start at a weaker level than the enemies, and then as you keep climbing, they climb with you, basically making it so that you're never too strong than them, and they're never too strong than you. The only two enemies that are different for this is the Guardians and the Linos. The Guardians and the Linos climb with you. The Linos are already higher level than you, so you have to climb up to their level, and then they climb further. Whereas the Guardians are permanently like they're like a roadblock. Like I said, they're a road stopper, and they're just they're like, if you look at it like a graph, like a ruler. It's like you're going through the ruler, through every inch on the ruler. Once you reach 12, where the Guardian is, the Guardian doesn't go higher. You can go further, 14, 13, 13, 14, 15, higher on the ladder, but the Guardian's power level stays the same. So that makes you feel like stronger, because now you can kill these Guardian's levels, and then the more you kill the Guardians, the more you get access to powers to your parts, which you can use to then make ancient weapons like the bow, the sword, the shield, which helps you deal with monsters quicker to get back into the fray. The ancient arrow, especially, is, if you've seen any speedrunning videos, is one of the weapons that allows you to just obliterate any enemy really fast. It can kill basically even the final boss, the Ganon Blights, like with insane amount of speed. It's just about the cutscenes, and that you will have been able to clear them quickly. They serve to make you powerful. They allow you to become powerful in the game where everything is climbing on the same level as you. So this single tool allows you to become so powerful that you can one-shot basically every enemy in the game. The only downside is that it costs you money and durability. But here is the other trick to why the game doesn't feel as tedious. Because as you play the game, the weapons break. You gotta go find new weapons. You gotta kill monsters to find new weapons, to kill monsters to find new weapons. As you explore, it becomes tedious. But then, to save that tedium, you just have to get ancient weapons. There are weapons that you can just get them again and again for free. Well, not for free, as you play the game. And then, if they break, you can just get new ones easily, because the location never changes. Hateno village, Pura's house, it never changes. So you can always go back there to get the weapons. So if you feel like, oh, killing the monsters is so tedious, you can just use the bow, the ancient arrow, kill the monsters in one shot. That alleviates the tedium. If you feel like you don't want to lose your precious weapon that you just found, you found a new weapon, is really cool, you don't want to lose it, ancient sword, ancient broadsword, you can use those and then save on the durability of the other weapons. Even it also helps in the fact of traveling, because Pura's location is in one place. You're allowed to explore even more, because you get out and explore to the different regions. But then, you've lost all your weapons and low durability. You fought so many weapon machines, but you want to explore more. How do you do this? How do you get back and get more weapons without having to backtrack everything? You can fast travel, but you lose your progress and you have to start over. There comes the shrines. You go into the shrines, you complete the shrines, and then you go back. You use the shrines teleporter to teleport back to Hateno village, where you can get the materials, then continue your journey. Which brings me to my next point. The Guardians and the ancient weapons both serve to also justify the reason why the shrines exist so much in the game. Like the shrines, I also believe in my headcanon that that's why the shrines are so like easy to complete because the developers realize that once you get to the once as you're traveling and you want to like go back because of the tedium, you can just go to the shrine, clear it quickly, and then teleport back to Hateno village to get some more stuff. So basically, this is how the loop go. You go outside, you explore, you find some weapons, you fight some enemies. It becomes a bit tedious. You start using ancient weapons. You use ancient weapons, but then you don't have any more ancient weapons to supply, but you have a lot of stuff to sell. You can just go to a shrine, teleport from the shrine into Hateno village, sell all your stuff, buy some new ancient weapon, and head back out from the shrine to keep your exploration going. And I think this loop is why Tears of the Kingdom Stadium never felt Breath of the Wild never felt so tedious because when you feel the tedium of traveling too much, of the tedium of fighting too many monsters because your weapons always breaking, you can use the ancient weapons. And if you feel the tedium of traveling, you can just use fast travel using the shrines. And notice how the ancient weapons are so powerful that they destroy everything in one hit, even the Linos. But the loop doesn't end there. The Guardians get destroyed by it too, but guess what? They're the only enemies, I think, right? Only enemies that drop materials, even if you use the ancient weapon on them. Basically, the developers are telling you that hey, it's okay if you want to let loose and just have a bit more of fun here with the ancient arrow because you will still get rewarded with the parts that you need to make new ancient weapons to further improve in your adventure. Tears of the Kingdom, on the other hand, tries to solve this. Yeah, basically why the Zonite devices didn't hit the same. I think is the answer is threefold. Twofold. The disparity for number one is the disparity of the Zonite devices placement. You know, the skylands are so scattered around like the ground, and asking you to explore them, but really it's tedious because you always have to go back up, have to go back down, to go back up, to go back down, to go back up. You know, it's tedious. And also, but you say, but and then but there's also the fact that like not one machine has all the pachinkos that you need. Like if you want the flamethrower, you have to go to this specific one. If you want the bomb, you have to go to this specific one. If you want the fan, you have to go to a specific one, right? Whereas in Breath of the Wild, you could just go straight to Hateno village and all the ancient weapons were there. Another, but you say, oh, you don't have to get the Zonite devices from the Skylands. You can just go to the underground and get the Zonites to get to basically auto build them. You know, using the auto build tower. But I think that's another issue because getting to the underground, like others have said that the underground is kind of becomes faded in after a while because the biome doesn't change, and I get it. Yeah, you know, it's like after a while, it's like you've seen the underground 2 times, you've seen the underground 100 times, you know. So getting back down there, getting the zonites to go back up, to go back down, to go back up again, tedium. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, they had it all centered in one place so that you didn't feel like you had to go to 7 different places to get the one thing that you needed to like advance the game. There's also the fact that the Zonite devices don't ever make you feel as powerful as the ancient weapon did, especially the ancient bow. It's like, sure, you can make great constructs, make machines that run around using the lasers, the bombs, and all that fire troll. But ultimately, nothing that can just one tap the enemies like the ancient bow does that makes you feel like, yeah, this is that power I was looking for, you know? Also, it also has the Guardians lacking, the lack of the Guardian also proves that there's no enemy as roadblock. There's nothing in the game that has like a stop to stop your momentum to tell you, oh, I'm not strong enough yet. Let me come back. Like something like the Gliok, the three-headed dragon, can be taken out pretty easily. Just shoot some wingbat arrows, let it fall, and then trash it. It never felt as threatening as a guardian. I don't think any enemy in Tears of the Kingdom really felt as threatening as a guardian. So having them, um, the constructs are very easy to take apart. So easy, in fact, that the moment they land, you can just literally pull apart one of the important pieces, and then they become inept. You cannot defeat them anymore. They cannot hurt you anymore. If you just take your arms away, take your legs away, they literally become inept. So I think that's another reason why Tears of the Kingdom, it didn't have any roadblocks in the Guardians form. It didn't have any, like, a centralized location to get all the Zonite devices, the Zonites, like Breath of the Wild, so it kind of built on that tedium. It's like your weapon is breaking, you want to use the Zonite device, but you have to go to the sky to get it, but you don't have it, you don't feel like going to the sky, so you have to go to the underground. To get to the underground, you have to get to the sun and then get the Zonites, go back up. Your weapons are still damaged. It's a lot of tedium. And I think this also brings me to why I think it was like why Tears of the Kingdom was such hype for me. Because instinctively, I think when I saw the trailer for the game, the first thing I did was go to Hateno Village, and when I found out that there were no longer ancient weapons, I think part of me was like, oh, I can't wait for what replaces it. And then it turns out the Zonai devices were not the best replacement for uh, the ancient weapons. Like I think a lot of us when we saw the game the first time we were like, oh, I don't know about you guys, but I literally beeline the moment I left the Sky Plateau, beeline to Hatena Village because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get some ancient arrows and I'm about to just put some belt to ass. But that wasn't the case, and as I kept playing the game, the tedium having to go get the Zonite devices, get the Zonites, and chase Hestia. Oh my goodness, I forgot to mention it. Hestia. Why did they make Hestia such a pain in this game? Like, why can't he just stay? We already explored the world. It's not even like it was in the sky, so we have to chase him. No, we already explored the world of Breath of the Wild. So there's no reason why they couldn't just let him be in one location, to so that you don't have to go explore in every other places to find Hestia. Because that, sorry, it's just Hestia makes me so mad every time I think about it. Because why can't Hestia just be in one location where you just go, Kellogg's, gather the stupid Korok seeds and bring them to Hestia so you can increase your inventory? No, you have to go find the Korok seeds, and then you have to find Hestia. Which why you already explored the land? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes. So those are the reasons why I think Tears of the Kingdom are much more tedious. Now, how will I just I guess closing thoughts. Um, Zona devices didn't necessarily need to be as powerful as uh, the ancient weapons. Really, they could have just been. They could have still worked the way that they wanted to work, but just like maybe increase the power slightly. Maybe make a monster type that's like weaker, like maybe the constructs, like have them be stronger against monsters but weaker against um, other constructs, so that you can use your weapons, do greater damage against the moblins, and do lesser damage against the construct with it. They could have had it so that as you play the game, you can create your own pachinko and like put all the different Zonai devices in it, like have one of the NPCs decide, hey, I saw these machines in the sky, I really like them. Let me just put them in the center village, in the hub village, next to the castle, Hyrule Castle. Let me just put it there so you can come and access it. And then have another one say, oh, let me just make a mine operation to send all the Zonites so you can just buy them with money in one location. I think that would have done a lot to alleviate the tedium. And for the weapons, I still think just giving the ability to repair weapons would have been better. But ultimately, yeah, I believe this is the reason why Tears of the Kingdom felt much more tedious than Breath of the Wild ever did.